epidemic, it is reassuring, as Angela said earlier, that we've passed the peak epidemic that was taking place in care homes, and the number of deaths and number of infections is now declining. Angela, would you like to add?
I can't answer that question without going back to the exact list of what advice was given when, and I don't want to give you an answer that's not correct. So if you'll forgive me, could we take notice of that question? Is that okay? I can get back to you.
Well, yes, obviously, if you can get back, that would be very good. I mean, it leads on to another question I have, which is that the chair of the Science and Technology Committee today has said that the advice given by scientists is too secretive in this whole process, that more should be published. I mean, do both of you think that would be a good idea? Do you think that would lead to better decision making?
Well, I don't really accept, Andy, that it is secretive. We have been having these briefings on a daily basis for weeks and weeks now, and this is my fourth time doing this daily press conference, and at every one of those occasions I've either had somebody from the Chief Scientific Advisors Department or from Public Health England or the NHS alongside me, and I think we've been very candid in sharing with people at every step of the way exactly what we are doing and why we are doing it and what the evidence shows, complete with graphs that show the trajectory and the trends and the epidemiology behind this outbreak. So I don't really accept that criticism at all. I think we've been very candid throughout this in terms of sharing knowledge with people and sharing our approach with people.
I can tell. Okay. We have been really very, very focused on trying to give really high quality advice, completely rooted in evidence. I can assure you that at every conversation we are always challenging each other to say, what is the evidence for that? Our job is to give science advice here and make sure everything we say is rooted in good quality science. I have to admit that I haven't spent much time worrying about how secretive or not secretive it is. I can see that is going to be a big issue when we have a big look back. I'd be more inclined to address that then. I realise that's not what you want me to say, I know, but I don't see any. I don't think that's the most interesting conversation. I said the most interesting conversation is, are we able to give good advice?
Thank you very much. Next we have Jane Merrick from the Eye.
Thank you. I want to follow up on Sophie's question, first of all to Dame Angela. In February, a WHO China report said that community testing and contact tracing was the best way to tackle coronavirus. So was the decision then on the 12th of March to scale back on community testing and contact tracing in the UK, was that based on sound scientific advice? And to the Secretary of State, who takes ultimate responsibility for these decisions and for that decision on the 12th of March? Is it the ministers or the scientists offering the advice?
The advice that we gave was certainly took account of what testing was available. It was what was the best thing to do with the test that we had. We could not have people in hospital with COVID symptoms not knowing whether or not they had COVID.
And as I explained earlier, Jane, we have been expanding dramatically our testing capacity over recent weeks and months, simply because it is going to be a very important feature of that track and trace approach that we're developing. And we've recruited now